The software here, okay, let's see. This is the software for the city analyzer called Cydia Start Page. As soon as you install it, it opens up like you see here in front of you, this page. All you have to do is in the city analyzer, like the device we saw, the device alone is capable of performing a current transformer Singer ratio test. Exactly. Okay, if you want to do yours, as you saw, each core has 2 taps, right? Sometimes there are 6 taps. In this case, I have something called or named, a change box called SP2. It is connected to the 6 analyzer device. And instead of 1 secondary output, it outputs 6 secondaries that you can connect to all the ratios. We call it multi-ratio. We are now working with a single ratio. So I will click here on the single ratio report. What is a single ratio report? Very nice. Okay. That's nice. So here I have, not forgetting, what is the system that outputs something like Excel, as you can see here? It is used in the tests, of course. As you can see below, there is a very large set of standards, but based on the data we enter now, only 1 page of them will be displayed. Great. And then I come here and tell it to change settings. Here, not forgetting, the same thing you saw on the screen there is what you will see here. It tells you the location, not inside the location, a collection of data like, for example, the station name, say station C. For example, I will tell you Alphanar. All right. For example, Alphanar Training Institute. Okay. And what is the company's name? I will say, well, the company's name is Alphanar. Okay, the type of feeder, I will say, for example, well, it is, or the name of the feeder, for example, is +H, okay? For instance, 01. All right, okay. And the phase, well, I am working on the CT of the phase of the country. For example, KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, the serial number, for instance, here is any serial number. Okay, and the core is core number 1. So I will say core 1, core 1. Okay, and the tab is 1S1-1S3. Okay, and from the manufacturer, for example, it's ELEC, for instance. Okay, and what is its type? All right, there's nothing to write here. It's not necessary. Okay, you start here with the primary cam. You will say, well, 1000 on 1. Okay, and the secondary, how many do you have here? 1. Okay, what is your standard? It is 61,869. Okay, is it protection or metering? I will say, well, it is protection. Is anyone asking a question? Okay, then he comes and tells you, then you tell him, he told you. The exact same data that I entered into the device. Then he asks you, how much is yours? So you come and tell him, well, mine is 30. Look here, as soon as I press, it immediately changed. Then he tells you, how much operating burden do you want? You can enter any operating burden you want. I told him 60 to show you the same test results, and you can choose the power factor as you like. I told him, okay, look at the temperature thing. You press here on the word options, and you come here to find the temperature. You tell him, well, this is the measured temperature, 18 degrees, and the reference temperature is 75. You choose it in Celsius, which is nice and fine. And here are the tests you want, what you want to measure. The tests are always by default the ratio of excitation and resistance. And this ratio comes with the apolitic. And you tell him, okay, you came to the site and took this CT. And I came to the site and took the same CT. But at your site, you connected the CT to the protection device over a distance of, say, 30 to 40 meters and used 2.55 millimeter cables. I connected it over a distance of 10 meters and used 4 millimeters cables. The burden I have connected to the CT is different from the burden you have. So we call this the operated burden. So engineer, how much is this operated burden? Here, you have the allowance to write the operated burden in this field, because based on it, you want to see what effect this burden will have on your test results, like the accuracy factor. How will it turn out with you? Will an increase in the burden affect the accuracy factor? Will it affect the set ratio? Will it affect any of these things or not? This is the capability it gives you with the operated burden. Of course, the site should be less than the rated burden. Yesterday, when I came, I told you that I was at a station and came to the actual. At that time, the rated burden was 15 volt ampere. When I came to the actual burden, I found it at 17.5 volt ampere. 17, what does that mean? And 8 out of 10, but I didn't want to tell you, 8.5 volt 17, and 8 out of 10 volt ampere. At that time, it was a joke when I came and told you. 8, I told you, and a half, 17.8 volt ampere. So at that time, I remember when I came and told you, I asked them for the size of the two to get me a 6 millimeter cable, or if you have another 4 millimeter cable extended next to it, let me know so I can take both in parallel. There was another cable in parallel with it, so I connected two wires as if they were the same single strand or the same single wire, as if I divided the load between the two of them. So it's as if I reduced the resistance, which reduced the load to about 12.5 volt ampere or 12 volt ampere. All right? Great. Okay, I'm done now. I press exit and then go here. You see all the bridges here disappeared except for one. If you look here, you'll find that it shows you some of our data, the Alphanar case. These are the data I had entered for it. Then here, as your book says, use the test setting. These are the entry settings you entered for it. You have the rated burden, the operated burden, the standard, and your class 5B. And your 5B 20, and your frequency is 60 hertz and so on. Okay, when you come here to perform the test, it tells you resistance test. Here is the resistance at 18, and here is the resistance at 75. And this is the same result that came out with the device. Okay, and the excitation gave 900 volts, the same as what appeared on the device. And here are the 10 milliamps, the same as what appeared on the device. Okay, and the accuracy meter factor is how much? Greater than 29.77, which is the same as what appeared on the device. Okay, and the operated burden is how much? 26. So now the operated burden is higher than the rated. Did it make a difference to you? Did it affect the behavior of the setup? No, it didn't affect it. So it's perfectly fine for you to say the test. Okay, you don't have any problem as long as the accuracy limit factor hasn't dropped below 20. And you don't need to invest in higher cables or anything. Okay, and the ratio is 1000 to 1. Okay. And your error, or what, was 0.2%. Okay. And your angle. The angle is approximately half a minute, which is roughly okay. Is that all right? Understood. Ayo, I understand that. Under whose form? 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 He is ostracized by everyone.